I always wondered what that thing was.
Is it gone now?
No, it's still
No?
there.
Is it?
Yep.
Well, you can put a cable on it and run it across the river as a zip line or something.
Or a rope
Tire
swing?
swing. Yeah. So anyway, just some
Just
cool
curious.
projects
Yeah,
that have
thanks for
improved
that.
the aesthetics here on Riverside. Finally, a couple more system projects. 2 capacitor bank sets were installed on Circuit 201 on Foreman Street. This will improve our power factor on that circuit, resulting in a cost savings. Power factor is a fairly complex topic. We don't charge for it. We could penalize businesses who do have a low power factor, but we do not. But this will help increase our power factor seen at the substation, which will decrease the penalty that we pay to the MPPA every year.
That's basically a measure of efficiency, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes. And we had a second meeting with King Milling about the potential removal of the overhead lines on South Broadway. I've sent them a couple spreadsheets with analysis for them to just use and make a decision of whether they would like to go primary metered for their other 3 services down South Broadway. So we're just waiting to hear back from them, but obviously that'd be an aesthetic improvement right downtown, and Light and Power wouldn't have the responsibility for those services if they were primary metered. They would own everything behind the meter. Any questions so far? Alrighty. Long-term natural gas supply. When I wrote this, there were no updates, but when I was gone, I received an email from Consumers Energy, and they provided answers for some questions that I had, and they were able to let me know that the exact pressure of the high pressure system that they have right over here on the river is 125 to 325 psi, depending on the time of year. I asked them how often the pressure would be 250 psi or more. I'm waiting to hear back with the idea that if it happened to be 250 psi 7 or 8 of the months that we would be able to run, out of the 9 months we'd have gas supply, maybe we wouldn't even need a compressor. So I'm waiting to hear back on that. Their analysis that I provided last month showed that we could run anytime the temperature was 26 degrees or warmer. I had asked them if this was for 1 or 2 turbines, and the good news is this would be for both turbines. They're still going to get an answer back for me that'll let us know if we could run simply 1 turbine at a lower temperature than 26 degrees, maybe 20 degrees or 18 degrees or whatever have you. So I'm still waiting for that answer. And the most intriguing part of the email was that my contact wrote, quote, especially considering our desire to upgrade gas service into the Lowell area. I asked him to expound on this, and he was going to get with system planning because system planning had got him this information. I still haven't heard back with that either. My hope is that they're just upgrading their infrastructure in general, which could bring more gas to Lowell, and all of these challenges just might be alleviated because they're just upgrading their infrastructure. We are going to meet with consumers. They have a Karn facility that deals with the same sort of customers around that facility deal with the same sort of interruptible gas supply challenges that Light and Power would face if we were to extend this line. We're targeting a date for a meeting sometime in mid to late September. So I am still pursuing this, and we'll bring you more information in the future, but we're moving forward. And then I talked with the MPPA and settled on a firm to analyze the cavern here under Dependable Gas, Brock Engineering. They're out of Traverse City, and they do gas storage consulting, and the MPPA has said in their opinion that they're the best in the state. So I will expect to make contact with them and pursue some sort of scope of work here in the near future so they can do some cavern analysis for us. Gotta find my spot here. Standby generator and gas compressor options. Really nothing's changed. The costs that I presented last month of the compressors and standby generators are the same. It really just depends if we want to move forward or not. I wrote that I ultimately think it would be in Light and Power's best interest to purchase a gas compressor, even if we were able to get a high-pressure line to give us gas 24/7, 365. And the reason for that is we can start building equity instead of making a lease payment that we're never going to get anything back. The compressor that we go with really depends, though, on if we extend the line or not. As you may remember, we would need a compressor to go from 100 or 125 PSI to 250 if we extend this line. With the line that we have right now, it would be 10 or 15 PSI to 250 PSI. And the price difference between compressors is $300 or hundreds or so $1,000. Ryan did make contact with Portland and Zeeland, correct? Regarding their interest in sharing a standby generator, or if they have one. And the contacts that Ryan talked with is there didn't seem to be too much of an interest. That being said, we're still going to reach out to Grand Haven or Holland, but I'm kind of thinking that if we want to go with a Black Start standby generator, it might be on us. But I know Perry had asked to at least check it out, and
if it is, it is.
Right.
But I think I believe we need to.
yeah, I think we
Pursue
should,
that.
it's my opinion that we move forward with one. Now, next month would be September 8th already, and we can't run past September 30th. We might as well wait till late winter or March or April to purchase one, just for the time value of money, and that it's better to have money in the bank than purchase an asset, unless we went forward with the school immediately to install some sort of transfer switch that would allow us to hook up the generator to the school in case of emergency. But we will get firm costs by September, and the board can decide if they want to go forward with one, and if so, in September, or if it makes more sense to wait until we can run again in the spring.
Have you had any conversations with
No,
the school, with Greg Pratt?
I haven't.
Okay.
That's something I need to do. Lowell School Solar Project, nothing new at this time. AMI project. I gave a presentation at the August 1st council meeting, and I included it in your packet. From my perspective, I believe it was well received, and there were a handful of citizens in attendance. We did let them know a few times that the presentation would be happening, but the people there were able to ask a few questions, and I believe they were answered. The plan is to start installing meters Tuesday, September 6th. And if, Megan, you could pull up the computer again while I'm talking. We have a picture of all the meters that came in. A ton of skids. So we have 2,700 or so meters at the facility now. Staff has met on a couple occasions, and we will be having the plan is 4 teams of 2. It may end up being 3 teams of 2, depending on personnel. We have someone who's off right now just due to medical complications. But 4 teams of 2 installing meters. Here's all the meters that did come in. And we will be taking a picture of the meter we're taking out, the meter we're putting in, as well as the address, so we can show what address, the final read, and the new meter going in, so we have documentation if anybody were to question if they have the right meter. We expect the installation process to take not more than 2 weeks. And we did install a meter here at the office facility, and it reported it into the software almost immediately. It can take a number of days, but we would think, hey, we're right next to our building, but it actually has to go to the gateway, which is on the fiber, to our servers. The servers are connected to the network, and you have to log in the network. So it's kind of like your cell phone. You know, if I call Greg, it goes way away to go back to Greg. But so that was really exciting, and it has a lot of awesome data. We're going to be receiving training for that in September after the meters are installed. We do plan to hang a tag on each door after the meter has been installed, notifying them that the meter was changed out, where they can go for more information or if they have questions. We also will have a letter that will go out to all customers, not in their bill, an individual mailing, explaining the project, where they can find out more information, benefits to them, frequently asked questions. And we still have to do this, but I plan to take my presentation that's on YouTube and put it on our website and Facebook, so if people want to go listen to my presentation, they can do so. So that's how the project's moving forward. It's on schedule and it's on budget. I have had inquiries from the mayor, Perry, Allen, over the past, the mayor more recently, but I believe both of you a number of months ago about the possibility of having a meter on your house beforehand. And we did talk with the vendor. And obviously, once you have meters out there that report in, because it can take some time to actually see them, you're starting to build that network. Ryan and I talked, and we're going to open up the opportunity to the council and the board and the city to install meters beforehand. You won't have access to the platform. That's really the benefit to having the meter. So it's not like, I don't see it as you're getting preferential treatment in terms of, I can now use this platform to do all these cool fancy things. That platform will be released after the meters are installed. But if there are council or board members
I
that,
think it was Tina that wanted it.
was it
first.
Tina?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry,
Yeah.
Tina.
She did, yeah.
I'm sorry. Young timers.
Yeah.
Don't have to give me a decision tonight, but Brian and I talked, and if there is council or board interest, shoot me an email, and we can go ahead and swap that. And
Does it assist you in troubleshooting anything?
it can.
Yes.
Because, I mean,
Yes.
I would, I'm in no hurry, but if that helps you, then
It would
be
assist
really
us in.
good to have one at his place and your
On
place,
street?
just
Okay.
because of the length of distance you are from a relay, just to see what kind of range
Yeah.
they will go by themselves.
Do
would
it at
help
your
us.
convenience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But she needs to be first.
My house first.
Yeah. You're on the other side of the river, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know Alan had expressed concern about the ones that opt out when you get to your home. How are you gonna keep tabs of the ones who opt out? If somebody's not home, are you gonna change it? Well, what is your plan when you come?
That'll be
knock
in the
on their
letter.
door? Okay.
In the letter that we send out, they'll be notified that there is an opt-out provision and that it's of no cost.
And
If
that they
we
should
don't-
probably submit that opt-out as quickly as
As
possible.
possible.
Yes,
yeah.
that's why we're
Because I
doing
hate
it
to get
next
to
week.
the house and we change it, like, I wanted to opt out,
Yeah,
and now
yeah.
what do you do?
We're gonna have to talk through that, and we have a staff meeting next Wednesday. And that's a last detail that we probably need to cover.
Okay.
I've got a question with that opt-out.
Yep.
I do have a senior citizen up the road,
Okay?
and they had asked, and I said, of course you can opt out. They wanted to know what that procedure was going to be. I wasn't sure if,
We'll have an
Because-
official form
okay.
that we'll
Will they
have
to
them
sign
sign.
the form? Okay.
Yep,
So if they're not able, let's say that they became sick, they would need to, they can just give me a call, I can swing by and pick it up and drop it off at the box. I'm working late hours, so I don't know, can I drop it off at the box down here? And
we'll get it.
My,
Sure.
I was just trying to figure out where we would find somebody dropping,
my question or concern is,
okay.
are you automatically changing them out? Do you have to have, or is there a thing says, yes, I want to change? And the reason why I'm asking that is because, example, Pink Arrow Community Day. For the last 8 years, it's been at Gilda's Club. We've had it in the paper,
People don't read it.
and we all of a sudden, I'm over at the school.
Right.
John Zelinski, sorry, John, says, can't wait to, get my new shirts done at Gilda's. And I'm going, it's not at Gilda's, it's right here. And so my point being is,
Are we gonna put it in and then if they call later, take it
because what
out?
happens is, if you automatically do it, and then that person goes, oh, I wanted to opt out, and I didn't know I had to fill this out, or I didn't know that you were automatically going to change that. So I'm just saying, I think you're gonna have a meeting. This
We
is just
do,
my input.
if we don't hear back from them, we will plan on installing the meter.
Okay,
And if somebody
Now,
wants to opt out after the fact, it's not that big a deal to,
It wouldn't be hard to switch back out.
okay?
With every person
because
that does
that's
that.
gonna happen. I believe.
Yeah, I don't think it'll be 30%, but it might be a couple.
I think I gave
Handful.
statistics at the council meeting,
Yeah, it was very,
was
very.
and
small.
it was,
It was very small.
I mean, I think there was even a city with over 100,000 people that had 14 people opt out.
Yeah, so
I think it's less than, I think in Lowell it would equate to 2 or 3 customers, but granted, sometimes in a smaller community, people can talk and what somebody does, maybe 8 other people might do. But I do plan on, if people have concerns, a lot of them can be alleviated just through talking.
Well, hopefully they see your presentation, because it was really a good presentation.
Thank you.
I actually had a note here to put it on the website and Facebook, but then you said that already, so.
Yeah.
Right.
You're,
Yeah, well done.
Yeah,
Ahead
after
of
the
me
letter,
again,
we're
so.
really gonna put stuff on social media, and the
Yeah.
new hire, Nicole, is, we've tasked her with a lot of that stuff, or that she'll be responsible for a lot of that.
So you do
And then-
you did fill that position?
We did.
it was in the,
Yep.
yeah.
Yep.
It's on page
One of-
5.
Keep
Make
reading.
it there.
And then one comment just occurred to me that maybe it might help just let people know to maybe clear out around their meter if it's not already. Because like I know at my meter that it's easy to read, but there's right next to it there's a bunch of like yard toys and stuff that if you guys are going to be working there, I'd probably just want to move them aside so you have a little room to work.
Yeah, Nancy and Stan
so-
have let us know really bad ones, and normally Gil will contact them, but I think our lineman will be able to make it work. But
Okay.
you raise a good point.
And it might just remind me, hey, just make sure that area is clear, let them, give them some room to work, and they can
Right.
get in and out easier. But from what it sounds like when I asked the last meeting, it's not a very complex job.
Right.
So
And
not like
the
you-
mayor had called me and asked, about, there's a lot of security, can this be hacked? And, I mean, all of this is encryption proof at each endpoint, and with like military grade security, and anything is humanly possible, I would guess. I don't want to tell you everything's bulletproof, but it's very, 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 very secure. And we do not have the meter that can be disconnected automatically. And the reason we did that is 99% of our customers never get disconnected. And to get that meter was a significant cost increase. So it's not like someone could hack in and just shut off somebody's power or something like that. So just so everyone's aware of the style meter we do have.
Is there anything out there that can affect the signal at all? Somebody park a lead sled next to it or something, somebody modified a car and parked on, and there's the meter. Will that have any effect?
I don't believe so.
Okay.
what type
Hopefully,
of a signal is it? It's just
it's a radio frequency.
yeah. So whatever would disrupt that.
Yeah, and it's just a pulse, 20 minutes, right?
Once, it's like a less than a
Less-
second every 20 minutes.
Yeah.
It's emitting like a
minute.
1 or 2 watt signal.
That is comforting to a lot of people that they can get that little bit of knowledge, because
Yeah,
there's
it's
so
not
much-
constant. It's
Right, yeah.
just like that. Yep.
Yeah, it's like that.
Yeah. Probably
That
less
didn't
often
hurt.
than your
It didn't
phone
hurt,
sends
did it?
data back to Google or Apple or something.
Yeah.
All right, so that's what's going on with the AMI project. Grid Lines Transmission Investment Service Committee. As you know, Lowell Lane, I've talked about this many times, but for those of you in attendance, Lowell Lane Power is fed by one transmission line coming down Alden Nash, and we're considered a radio, meaning that if that transmission line, God forbid, were to go down, this entire town would go out of power. It's to our benefit to either have enough generation to run the entire town or to have a second transmission line. So it's obviously smart to look at both options and instead of putting your eggs in one basket. But in the past, when analysis has been done to build a second transmission line, it's been determined that it wouldn't benefit the zone or region, meaning that all maintenance costs for that transmission line would need to come from Lowell Light and Power. If it were to benefit the zone, and they have a computer that calculates the grid and the flow of energy, and if they can prove that a transmission line would not only help Lowell but other people, the cost to maintain that line would be shared among the members in the zone. All proposals have really shown that a line built to Lowell would only benefit Lowell, meaning that it would really be cost prohibitive to have a second transmission line. I have been in contact right before I left with Peter Loy and Pat Bowen, the CEO of the MPPA, and it's of their opinion that a second line would indeed only benefit Lowell. We're still going to reach out to ITC and confirm that. Grid Alliance is another company we have used to do some analysis for us, and they've also confirmed the same thing. So that does look like a dead end unless we wanted to pick up $300,000 to $400,000 a year of transmission maintenance expenses. But I know Greg's opinion, and I agree with Greg, is why not put that into for sure getting a gas pipeline here 24/7, 365, and then we could just run the turbines if the transmission line ever went down. So that's where we're at with that. Fiber to the home, nothing new at this time. The ball is currently in Virgin's Broadband's court. It has been for like 3 months now. I do plan on contacting Ryan Peel just to see if he has any questions or if we can keep proceeding. Fiber extension to city facilities for the citywide phone project. I'm sure a number of the council members will hear about this in the near future. I have been working with Ryan, Richland Bombard, Steve Bucola. I think Dave's been briefed and has been at a few meetings, and Sue Olin, to potentially install a voice over IP phone system here in the city. Right now, AT&T is our carrier, and each facility has a separate bill, and it's costing not only Light and Power, but the city just a ton of money. And a voice over IP phone system would allow us to really eliminate most reoccurring monthly phone charges. You do have the upfront capital expense, but once that's done, your monthly reoccurring expense is incredibly low. And based on my calculations, it would be a savings to the entire city of in the hundreds of thousands of dollars over a 10-year period after the capital costs have been figured. Currently, a lot of the city facilities are connected by a wireless network. Due to latency issues, a wireless network, we've determined by talking to the city of Walker and IP Consulting, really would not allow us to install a phone system. So Ryan has really been the driver of getting quotes to extend fiber to the 6 other city facilities, which are City Hall and Police Department is one, water, wastewater, DPW, fire, and library. Right now there's a fiber loop that runs from the substation on Bowes Road all the way to Hudson, up to the Light and Power facility to Chatham. So it's pretty strategically located fiber where you can branch off the fiber to other city facilities. And by having fiber, not only could we have this voice over IP phone project, but we would also be able to share one internet bill, which saves on cost there. Tomorrow, actually, this whole group plan to meet at 10 a.m. to go over the 3 quotes that we've received. They range in price, I believe, from $42,000 to $60,000. That's an all-in cost, and that's broken down by the different branches that would have to be built. The most expensive of which is extending fiber underneath the river. Unfortunately, we do have conduit underneath the river due to the project that happened to get for Atwood as a customer a number of years ago. Steve Bucola is writing a grant for $80,000. I believe he actually wrote it and submitted it. So that would be pretty awesome. It would cover not only the fiber, but the portion of the phone project. I think in total, it would be $140,000 to $150,000, but we believe IP Consulting is estimated on the high side for the phone portion. But regardless of a grant, it's staff's opinion that it's really a no-brainer when you have the ROI like this. It's my hope that by September sometime, or maybe October's meeting, to bring forward a fiber proposal that gets approved by not only the board but the council, so we can really get this project underway, because every month that we're being billed from AT&T, it's really a loss at this point. So that is going forward full steam.
In your discussions, how many fiber pairs were you looking at running in that?
24.
24, that's a lot of future stuff you can do with that.
Yeah, I think it really future-proofs.
For a lot of things, yeah.
Right. Getting close. Getting close. RP3 representation. Tom Russo is here, and he was thrilled about the fact to continue serving on the RP3 board in DC. He has a conference in October and December, and I believe Sharon has made arrangements, or is in the process of making arrangements for that. And he's spending, I think a little less than a day a week getting us up to speed on the RP3 program and what has to be done. New office staff, we had 53 applications for the communication specialist and office assistant position, and there were a lot of qualified people, and There were people with, I mean, there were a number of people we really couldn't have gone wrong with. And we ended up going with Nicole Schulte. She's a local resident. And we're really hoping to utilize, she'll be back up to Gail as a billing clerk, but she'll also in the future be really hitting the PR and marketing side, annual report, Public Power Week, website, blog, Facebook, and spending hopefully 20% of her time on that. Newsletters, things like that. And a big thanks to Anna Lindhurst, who took care of the process. Obviously, when you have 53 applications and you have to write letters to them and conduct phone interviews, I gave it to her and she did a great job. Diesel generator equipment removal at Broadway. We received a $2,500 offer that was actually up to $4,500 from Lanco LLC for the 6 heat exchangers we have down here in the building and the cooling tower. It's the really large structure outside. Obviously, we always want more money, but we figure each exchanger could be sold on the market for roughly $1,500 and the cooling tower for $10. So you're talking their resale might be 18 or 19. Factor in our cost of $4,500, we're down to maybe 13 or 14, but with insurance, taxes, transportation, things of that nature, we'll probably meet somewhere in the middle. It is the hope to sell this equipment and get it out of here and at least get something for it, as it's been sitting here and we have no use for it. I mentioned another vendor coming in August 4th. That was FHC. They didn't have an interest in the equipment, so just to follow up on that point. And one of the last items, the Line Shack. In the past month, I was approached by a party that was very, very interested about Light and Power's interest or willingness to sell the facility. I just wanted to have a discussion about the board's view of that facility, of whether or not they would be open to sell or even lease that facility. Currently, the facility is used for some minor storage of Light and Power. I think almost more of the EO side's been stored there for Sharon. And I believe a float has historically been stored there for a parade. So we haven't used it.
That's the building right out here.
Yep, the building that we painted white. Really wasn't given a purpose of the building. They wanted, this was the Realtor company, and they just wanted to even see if it was a possibility. This was the #1 choice, though, that the party had for all of Lowell. So they were very interested in getting on the river, and they just wanted to know how it would work, and I said, I'll go to the board and just talk it over with them.
To sell it, would have to go through the council, I believe. In light of,
By the way, you have to advertise it also. Give everyone an opportunity.
in the light,
Oh,
Definitely
that's right.
get with you if this ever happens. Don't worry.
in the light of what's gone on with the biodigester, at the current time, I'm more in favor of leasing or renting, where we would have some control of what would go in next to this building as compared to outright selling it. And that's, again, that's just my view at this point.
So you would be in favor, though, of potentially be open to leasing it?
To leasing it or renting it, sure, if it's sitting there empty and we could generate some income off it, I don't know, I'm just at the present time selling. I think it's a valuable piece of land that Lowell Light and Power has. We're not using it to its full potential, but I see where I think it's, I don't know. I hate to part with that and like all of a sudden somebody reconstructs or whatever and puts something up and now
Now it's
you
blocking our view.
can't see the river and all those types of things. So, in my opinion, at this point, I mean, that's kind of where I stand. I don't know what the rest of the board is thinking.
4 or 5 years ago, there was a party interested, and I abstained from the discussion because I knew the individual, but at that time, the board wasn't even interested in renting it. But at that point, it was an offer, I think, of $500 a month, which is turns into 6,000 a year. For 5 years would have been 30,000, but you also gain a water customer, a light and power customer, and the building looks better now. We did paint that. I certainly would support renting it, like to see somebody in there, but it's very valuable to the city. If we ever get a river walk up this side, it could be a fishing platform, public bathrooms, there's a lot of potential for us. I think it would be a huge mistake to part with it, but certainly would welcome another business and some revenue from the place.
Yeah, I might definitely agree. I don't know to like letting someone use it. I mean, potentially even sell it. I understand what you're saying though about that makes sense to maintain some control over it. Just like you said, if somebody did something that was unsightly, we wouldn't kind of feel guilty about that. Or the other thing is just making sure that I'd like to have some idea what the plans would be for it. Just making sure it fits into the master plan. And
I did
'cause
inquire
I know there
about-
is the master plan about that river with the city that
Right,
we didn't want. We want to make sure that we're following that.
right.
So.
And I agree too. I would agree too. I wouldn't want, we're still in a neighborhood. We're only a few hundred feet from a house. So I'd like to, keep our eyes open. I don't want anybody else upset. So renting it that's a great idea, to move forward on that. But I don't want to let that piece of property go.
Jim or Alan, any thoughts, or?
I like the leasing, renting idea, and Greg made some great points.
That's one of the facilities I haven't seen, so I don't know what shape it is. Is it going to be, roof good, building's good structure? Is there going to be a cost to us if somebody moves in and we have to do some repairs to it, or that'd be up to the leasee? Some things you have to consider, because I don't know if it's a habitable for what at this point.
There'd be a lot of work that would need to be done
Mhm.
for anybody, I think.
So
That would fall on them. What is
Yeah.
it, a 4-stall garage really with a bathroom?
Right.
yeah.
Great location.
Well, I'll contact the realtor and just let them know that it's not a complete no, that there is some interest, and
Bring us an
perhaps I
offer.
can, yep. Okay. Alden Ridge Housing Development, nothing new, and July payables are right here.
One quick question about that. How far is our power into that? I mean, just because I see the washouts, I see the elevation keep changing in there, and I guess I want to make sure who's responsible, this whole depth of buried lines and all that kind of stuff.
The only thing that's done is the directional bore pipe underneath of the Seguin or Alden Nash to provide the avenue for power over there. There's no wire in it, and
Okay.
they did their driveway crossing pipe installations, and the gravel is still at the same level for them, which I'm assuming is gonna have pavement on it, so that nothing's compromised with our electric out there. We haven't done anything.
Mark.
Sorry about that.
That's all right.
Man.
Rock and roll.
I didn't have anything new with Alden Ridge. Payables are available for your review. And that's all I have for the manager's report. Schedule of meetings, I believe is in the packet. And back to you, Greg.
All right, our next regular board meeting is September 8th, back to Thursdays. Brings us to board comment. Alan, we'll start with you.
I have no comments. We'll probably be having quite a discussion here in a minute, so I defer.
All right, Andrew.
Yeah, I just want to thank the folks who came out again to express their opinions, even as emotional as they were. I mean, that's not, I'm trying to emphasize with being the frustration. It's just, it's like, I'm glad Perry had to do that 5-minute break, because at the end of that, my mind was spinning on all kinds of stuff, and it is just a tough situation. I mean, especially for me, it's kind of frustrating even just being an engineer, because on one hand, I can empathize with Lee and Greg, because it's the kind of problem that's not easy to get to the bottom of. There's no simple, quick fix. Even just shutting the station off is not a simple, quick thing. On the other hand, it's frustrating that this wasn't addressed up front. I mean, like, as an engineer, that's another thing. You design something, you plan for this, and the fact that we're here is kind of frustrating, but being that we're getting to a solution, so you know, as long as we just keep communicating, and it might even be worth it for us to maybe next week email out to everybody that's had their emails before, the residents, just solicit feedback and say, okay, they've made this fix, or they've done this X thing on Saturday, Sunday, whenever, and just start asking them just to give us some feedback of, have things improved, have you noticed anything? I think that would help. I mean, I've been trying to get out there a lot more often, for that reason as well, but, you know, I don't live there, so. Although I will point out to everyone that I'm aware that there's an elementary school there. I attended that school when I was a kid. My kids currently attend that school and will be going, so it's, you know, I'm not agnostic of that whole situation. That's good.
Gary, first, start off, remind everybody, tomorrow is, and you know that how involved I am with the Pink Arrow. Right across the river is Pink Arrow Community Day tomorrow from 10 o'clock to 7 o'clock, and then the concerts after that. You can get over there and donate blood, get a free lunch, get your shirts for this year's game. I want to thank the staff, especially Mark and Justin. We're out at 5 o'clock this morning putting up the Pink Arrow signs, and we'll be doing the north side of the street tomorrow morning. So I really appreciate that. They've always been right there anytime we've needed something, and they've been there. Want to just mention that Rich is out serving our country right now for 2 weeks, correct?
Yes.
2 weeks in his National Guard training. It's National Guard, right? Or is it Reserve Army?
It's National Guard.
National Guard. So he's out doing that. I understand the frustration of the community. Again, you know, I brought some things up tonight. I'm not trying to throw Greg under the bus. It's just that I'm frustrated. I was one of the people that went to Germany, saw what they had, saw what they were doing, and did and the reason why I went to Germany is because before I wanted to put my stamp approval of it, is I wanted to do the test. I didn't want to take somebody's word for it. So I physically went there, visited 5, 6 biodigesters, saw a couple that were at a landfill and weren't what I would deem we'd want, but I did see several that literally did not smell, and so I'm frustrated. I think I know the community, it's boiling over a little bit or a lot. Need to get it solved, and that's, for me, you know, 2 days. We're going to have the experts, what I consider the experts, in here looking at it and hopefully taking care of it. I didn't want to get in at the time. I know this is being recorded, but I didn't want to get into a debate with the public. But Saturday, I was going through town, Shell station, smelled this odor, knew it was coming from the biodigester, drove right over there, got out and walked around the facility and could not smell anything around the facility. Went over to Amity, got out of the vehicle, could smell it. Went over to Richards Park, Lincoln Lake, got out, could smell it. I think what he's describing, it doesn't help the community, but I think what he's describing, the leak at the top, makes, layman's terms, makes sense to me, because when you get right around, and I did this several times this last week and weekend, it's the winds carrying that. I think it's leaking at the top, carrying it, and polluting the community with the odor. So hopefully they can get that resolved. If they can get that resolved without having the smell, I think it's a good thing to have. I do want to say one thing that I was make a point of. I'm not a lawyer, and that's why we have Dick Wendt here. and he's gonna discuss things, what we can do and what we can't do. It is a private company that is doing this. When one of the gentlemen said, just stop paying your electric bill, and I didn't want to get into it because emotions were high. We're not the controllers, we're not part of that at this point. I'm sure I'm being crass and I probably should just shut up, but if you don't pay your bill, you will get notices and get, in my opinion, would get, it's two different issues. Not paying your electric bill to me, has nothing to do with the biodigester because it's a private company. We're not in control of that. So anyway, I'll leave it at that, and hopefully it'll get resolved and everybody can move forward. And I'm sure it was a lot of emotions. And again, as you know, I was emotional about it because I had to take a 5-minute break. We all know that because I just couldn't concentrate. It bothers me. So.
Well, I'm not going to run that down the road any further. I agree with you. We had, the community of Lowell. I couldn't imagine that I could not be able to sit outside after I grilled something on my grill and not be able to eat outside with my husband and have the kids play in the yard. That's all I'm going to say about that aspect. I would be hugely disappointed, and I agree with the community that was here. Now on a lighter, 53 applications came in here to work at Lowell Light and Power, you guys, just for one position. That just goes to show you that people notice that this is a great place to work and there's a need for it. You want to live the dream. Heck, I'd like to be able to get on my bike and ride to work and live in town and work here or work across the river. So kudos, that's a great reflection of what's going on here, you guys. So great job. The Rolls Royce, Barney, how do you do it? I'm looking at that, and it's not a rocket scientist situation, but
Pretty much is.
Close, yeah. It's
I'm
close.
I'm just amazed, and I definitely I want to take that tour. I talked to you about it before. I'd like to come over and see what that looks like and walk through it, take some pictures, because I'm just in awe of how you understand what's going on and how it works. It's amazing, and thank you for being here, being part of this Lowell Light Power. I'm amazed. So I'm definitely gonna take that walk, and I'm gonna take some pictures, and can I put it on Facebook, because I really want people to see Tina standing next to this, or part of it, how massive this is. So I'll be able to put that on Facebook, right, Steve, or no?
Yeah, if you want to. We need to get a picture when Barney's on with both turbines doing the winning. So, this is like 5 years in the making for these two things, so it's pretty amazing.
Definitely. Thank you for this great journey that you pulled us through. So, and with that, that's what I have right here.
The only thing that I have is, is there cost to this, and how do you go about doing it?
There is a cost, and it's on Light and Power, and we budget for board and conference expenses in the income statement. I think for a day isn't more than $75.
Okay.
So it is worth the money.
Definitely.
You've been there, and
Yeah, I went to the one at.
Greg has been
you
very-
hosted here.
Yeah.
right.
There's a couple that intrigue me, the utility cybersecurity part of it.
Can we go back just, I have one more thing. I'm sorry.
Here, he's got one more thing.
I moved it along pretty quick today. I just want to say that.
But I talked,
For all these guys.
the one thing is, and I know that I've talked to Ryan about it, is when I've driven over there, the gates have been open and anybody can drive in, and we need to get the gate issue
I believe
repaired.
we approved the quote to get it fixed.
Yes.
We did.
Okay,
It is.
that was quick, wasn't it?
That was real speedy.
All right, no, I would just agree with the rest of the board. We're very concerned about this odor issue, and we're not gonna allow this to go on. Unfortunately, it's not our gate, but we are gonna do what we
Next
can
agenda.
to help take care of it.
Pass it down.
It's definitely a problem for the community. And that's it?
Can I make one comment?
Yes.
I'd just like to comment about the fact that the significant odor source seems to be coming out of the top of the tank, but I don't feel that that is the entire source of the odor. As one of the fellows that has to work or show up to work over there every day, if you got to walk around that IFAS tank that's out back that's not covered up, I think you might disagree with that.
Which tank?
That open
The
tank.
sewer tank, the one that's open, that comes from Lighthouse, that is a significant amount of odor coming out of that on a daily basis, and I don't think it's getting enough credit for that. I just
So that
wanna
could be
make sure
6
you guys
weeks
know.
out.
And that's a long ways out.
And I will agree with you 100%. And I do go through that gate just about every day. I drive back in the corner, I open my windows and check them back out. So,
I think so. We
Yeah,
had
we
to
gotta
finish
close
this.
it.
All right,
Yeah,
yeah,
we're
I'll
in
make
another
I'll make a motion, we adjourn this meeting.
Well, we
Support?
adjourned to
Gary-
go into closed session.
Nope, it's a completely separate meeting.
Meeting.
Oh, it's a separate meeting?
Yeah.
Then we're
Okay.
going to
We have
reopen.
a motion and
All right.
support. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Meeting is adjourned.